Hello, everyone. Well, I'm Dr. Ann Gillies, and as most of you know, I have been in Ottawa pretty regularly these last 3.5 weeks. And today is Saturday. What's the date? Is today the 19th?
Today is the 19th.
Yes. Time's gone away on me. Anyways, but I have a friend that came down last night. So this is his first time on the Hill during these 3 weeks. And I thought it would be really good if we could just talk a little bit and share with you Ed's perception of what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we were up there, some of you, I expect, watched my Facebook Live this morning and saw, you know, the police line up and the things that kind of were happening there. I really believe that there are hearts being changed, hearts being transformed there.
Mm-hmm.
So Ed, I guess I just really want you to be able to have the freedom just to talk about what your experience was like. And, you know, you talked a little bit about your father earlier today and stuff, but let's just whatever you feel like sharing.
Yeah, I wanted to come down some time ago. And when Bob offered me the opportunity to drive down with him, I took him up on it. I wanted to see for myself what actually was going on. I don't have a jaundiced view of the mainstream media. I've had that for a number of years. And so I've watched a lot of things on YouTube and various other outlets.
Right.
I followed you, and I wanted to find out for myself exactly what was going
on. And I think being here, no, unfortunately, you didn't get to really experience the atmosphere on the Hill right in front of the Parliament buildings over the last 3 weeks.
No.
That would have probably brought you to your knees. But
yeah. Well, even watching on the screen, what I was able to see, you could see the warmth and the camaraderie of Canadians who didn't even know each other, and they just threw their arms around one another and prayed, sang the anthem.
Yeah.
That was just something marvelous to see.
And so as we're walking up the street today, you're looking at police barricades. And then
I never thought in my lifetime I'd ever see that in Canada. You know, when you see from newsreels on TV and so forth in different countries, you almost expect it there. But to see it in Canada, it's incongruent with what I believe Canada to be. So it's difficult to watch.
No, your heritage is Polish.
I was born in Germany. My mother was German. My father was Polish.
That's right.
And during my growing up, I've heard from my father often how much he detested the communists and what they had done to his country. And so I came up, with a view of the left and socialism and communism. I had a negative view, and I've always had a negative view of it. And I see that happening here. What I find unfortunate is that the young people don't seem to have a real sense of our history.
Well, especially the very young, because history books are being rewritten, right? So I just wanted to say something. I don't think I clued into this. So your mother was German, your father was Polish. Mm-hmm. That's quite a dynamic.
My father was taken out of Poland by the Germans when he was 14, forced to work as a slave on a farm. And my father, rightly, I suppose at the time, hated the Germans. Ended up marrying one. Which in wartime, these things happen. And so I was born there. We left Germany when I was about 3.5. And Canada took us in. So we were grateful for that.
So you grew up hearing the stories of your dad, mm-hmm. and then how horrible, we've all heard atrocities that have happened in those times. But, from a parent's perspective, I think of your own dad, being taken away
Yeah.
At
And his,
14.
at 14, they shot his dog right in front of him. And his parents didn't even know until after the war where he was.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Broken.
He saw his family for the first time after the war in 1958.
Well, so they suspected he was dead.
Yeah.
So, coming out of all those losses, and many people our age have come from generational loss, trauma. And so experiencing, and then of course your mom being German, also she experienced atrocities and
She did. And the interesting thing is I always grew up with a love for the Jews. And I learned that from my mother, a German. It was a Jew who fed us in the camps before we came across to Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was quite an experience.
Wow.
Yeah, she and a lot of her friends were Jewish. And I've had the good fortune of Jews somehow being attracted to me. And it's been a blessing for me. My father was very anti-Semitic when he first came to this country. And it's a long story, but they were in Germany in 1971 and they met a couple who had gone through the Holocaust. And they befriended them and invited them to Israel, which they went. They were picked up at the airport by a military escort.
Oh.
Yeah, it was quite a thing. And after that, my father had nothing but good things to say about Israel and Jews. Changed his whole life.
And that's part of, so I want to come to diversity when you talk about what's been happening here in Ottawa, because, just kind of segue what you're saying about being with people. And so your dad, his whole life changed by spending time with these Jewish people. And what's happening here, what's been happening here in Ottawa is that there's been this influx of diversity, not Trudeau's diversity, but true national diversity, international diversity.
Oh yeah, it's just amazing to see people embrace one another, smile at one another, tell me they love me, and I don't even know who they are. And they're from all races, from all colors, from all backgrounds.
Yep.
And if anything has united us, it's been this.
Well, and the Iranian man I was speaking to over lunch, I just had this wonderful conversation, and he said he has found more love and more compassion and more diversity of ethnicity here amongst this group of let's call ourselves low-class citizens, because
Yeah.
What are we? We are
We're the fringe. We're the French
remote
Canadians. Yeah.
minority with unacceptable views.
That's it. Yeah.
But he was just explaining what he's found, and just the same as you, this deep sense of love and compassion and unity that the line for the last 2 years has been with COVID, we're all in this together. And I saw this early on, this little cartoon that said, yeah, we're all in this together, but some of us are in yachts and some of us are in canoes.
Yeah.
And we're not, and we're in the ocean, man. We are not all in this in the same way. We're not in the same boat. But what he said was that here is the unity that binds, not diversity that divides.
Exactly.
And we are all in this freedom march, this sense of let's have freedom back in Canada, and we're in it together. So then we were, so that was kind of went into lunch, but before that, as we were walking up to the hill, we never got, of course, up to Parliament Hill because it was barricaded off. We couldn't get past the police, but we got one block down. We were just on Albert and Metcalfe. So what was your sense, Ed? Because this was the first time for you encountering police in this way. And they were in full uniform, right?
Yeah. Well, I did walk up to many of them, and what I told them, they knew. Look, at these protesters are here to stand. We sing the anthem, stand on guard for thee. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Do we only mouth it, or do we actually stand up for what we believe Canada to be? My parents found sanctuary in Canada. Canada took us in. And we're very grateful for that, as most immigrants, I think, are. And so I went up to many of them and said, look, you must realize that these protesters are speaking up for your freedoms and for your kids and for your grandkids, most of whom didn't say anything. They were, I suppose, told about the same thing.
No.
But I did come across one who nodded, and you could tell by his eyes that he was conflicted. I ended up shaking my hand. And I thought, you know what, there have to be a lot of them who are conflicted and realize that what's happening here is absolutely wrong.
Well, I agree. I really agree. Because as I was talking, of course, I was videotaping, but I was looking into their eyes. And as we stood there, so we were about an hour there. I didn't realize it was quite that long, but we were about an hour there. And there was one time I really felt compelled, before everyone got on their knees, but previous to that, really felt compelled just to get on my knees and pray for these people in front of us.
Where have you seen in the last 30, 40, 50 years, people en masse from all walks of life getting on their knees and praying?
Yes, amen.
And then singing the anthem while they know the police are going to come and push them out? Think about that. Where in Canada today, you have to be concerned about waving the Canadian flag, and you're targeted for it.
Oh, yeah.
Where have we come?
Well, I mean, it was pretty incredible. And that's what we've been experiencing, the freedom to see each other's faces,
Yeah.
to see smiles, to see, I think what people are beginning to realize, and certainly a lot of us have been on this journey, is that hiding behind a mask, and it is a way of hiding, unfortunately.
Mhm.
I know that for many of you, you might think, well, this is safety, but I mean, there's some good research out that really diffuses that. But seeing people, seeing their faces,
Mhm.
and seeing the joy, seeing of such diversity and such unity and love and compassion. And I know at one point I went over to the young lady, and she was the one actually that had led the prayer marches. She'd had that really on her heart to lead the Jericho march around. And I just asked her if we could please say the Lord's Prayer,
Yeah,
because it was
that
really,
was a great thing to do.
it was just a moment. And you know, people in the streets praying. We've been praying for 3 weeks, but this is just what is changing Canada. I believe this is changing Canada. And I think I looked again at the police after that, and I'm a granny, right? I'm soon to be a great grandmother.
Well, what does the Bible teach us? Those who are called by my name, who will repent and ask for forgiveness, I will heal their land. And what do we need right now? We need healing.
We need healing.
We are so divided, and I think it's by intent. The powers that be, they talk about unity and so on, but are they really interested in unity?
I don't think that's their heart's desire. I think their heart's desire is power and control.
It's
believe
divide
that.
and conquer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the people of Canada, that's not their desire. Their
I
desire
agree.
is oneness and unity. And we've been seeing
I
that,
agree.
and it's exciting. So did you feel threatened by the police when you were there?
No, I didn't. I first of all, I didn't feel any fear at all. I couldn't help but think, this is almost surreal. Could I have ever expected in my lifetime to see this
In Canada.
in Canada?
I know.
And yet, I think what it's going to do in the long run, there are going to be a lot of repercussions over this, over the months and the years to come. When my girls say to me, for the first time in their lives, they're proud to be Canadian, that says a lot to me.
Yeah.
Because of our faith, because of what we believe Canada to be. We've seen what's happened to our country over the years. And suddenly you have truckers. I love truckers. I've always loved truckers. Bringing the whole country together. It's just amazing. And when my girls say to me, you know what, Dad, I'm proud to be Canadian. Man, that speaks volumes.
And that's what I've been feeling I don't think I felt so proud to be Canadian in my entire life as I have in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's something that every single person is going to take away from this.
Yeah.
And for those officers that were standing in front of us, my heart goes out to them. And we, at the end, just before we were going to leave, because I knew they were going to do another pushback, and we've been there for a while. And there was one or two particularly that I kind of made eye contact with. And the one man, I just said, I know I can't hug you, but I'm giving you a hug. And then I said, can I just touch your shoulder? And he said, yes. And then he grabbed my hand, and that happened a couple times. And these people, remember folks, let's bring unity everywhere. They are under orders. Do we agree with those orders? Absolutely not. Do they agree with those orders? I think many of them do not. I mean, what my desire would be is to see them stand down from those orders at some point and come to this place where there would be great repentance, because there is a way out for them. There is a time in the military and with the police that when orders are unlawful, and
yeah, that's no longer an excuse, is it?
no, when orders are unlawful. So I pray for hearts to be changed and minds to be opened. And yeah.
Many of these people, I think, for the first time have seen two things. Number one, how it feels to have unity in the country when you have people from all walks of life come together like this.
Yeah.
And then tell the police who are going to push them back, we love you and we're praying for you. That has to have an impact on these people. As you rightly said, they're individuals. They have families.
Oh, yeah.
And they understand what's going on. They're not fools.
No. So emotionally, how are you right now?
Yeah, I feel fresh. I was a little teary before I communicated with my girls. And, you know, when you have to put into words what's going on the one hand, when I see what's going on, I burn inside. But then I also understand that God is in control and I have to give it to him. And that gives me peace.
And that we would all come to that place that and that's one thing we were just saying before I started the tape, because that we have to recognize, and we do recognize as we individually have very little control. Like we really don't have a big voice individually, none of us. But what we've seen here is that collectively we can come together and then we have a voice. And that's amazing.
Yeah, and one of the important questions that one of my daughters asked me was, is the gospel going out, Dad? Are souls being saved? And I believe they are.
Yeah,
who would have thought, you know, a short 2 years ago that there would be people in the capital city en masse praying?
Yeah.
And
not that there haven't been prayer walks. I mean, those have all been happening, but this is different. And this is
very different.
Yeah. There's a very,
and you know what? Maybe in retrospect, this will have been needed to do that.
Oh, I think so. I think so. Thank you.
Pleasure.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
Bless you, Ed.
God bless you.